Hi. Sergio Gomez.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, thank you. Today we are here with the accomplished abstract figurative artist based out of Chicago at the Zhou Art Center.
That's correct, yeah.
You started that with two brothers out of China.
So it was founded by the Zhou brothers who immigrated from China back in 1986. And they purchased this really large 80,000 square foot facility, which was a warehouse, to build it into an art center. So when they purchased it, I was just graduating from university. So I was looking for a space to open my own studio. And that's when I met them and joined, what they were doing and, help them pretty much build the community at the art center. That happened in 2004. It was very exciting.
You have some extensive international exhibition history. We're talking Mexico, Italy, Cairo, Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Zhou Art Center, do they collaborate with you? Is that through the Zhou Art Center?
So we have done a lot of things, and kind of like the best way to explain it. So the Zhou Art Center has about 50 artists in residence, studios and galleries as well. So I have my own space as an artist and also my own gallery, 33 Contemporary, which is in the fourth floor of the Zhou Art Center. So I have my own programming of things that I do, and I'm also the curator for the art center. So in both, as when I'm working with the Zhou Art Center, curating exhibitions, programming, and so on. So I'm working always, with artists from around the world. We have done since 2004, pretty much, openings. We have open house the third Friday of every month. As kind of what you mentioned, sometimes it may be an exhibition with local artists, sometimes maybe a traveling exhibition that comes from Europe or anywhere else, or maybe a group exhibition with artists from, all across the United States or all around the world. And so it varies, it depends on what we have planning, but it's just been exciting through the Zhou Art Center be able to connect with the larger international art community. We have done all kinds of things. We have done residency programs, for example, where an artist may come, like could be an emerging artist, could be a student, it could be already a professional artist who comes to the center and may stay for a month or two during the summer, and then do some projects with us. So sometimes it's not specifically with an institution, but individual artists who may be representing their own institutions, but it's more of a kind of a open door type of programming for residencies.
These international exhibitions that you do, that's a big step for any artist. How did you navigate the funding for your initial sort of trips? And
for mine as an artist, or for artists coming in?
For you.
For mine, okay. So yeah, so now like switching from the art curator perspective to now for me as an artist, right? So now going to other countries and doing exhibitions. So because you've seen my work is quite large. So what I have done over the years, for the last 20 years or so, I have developed a type of work that can be rolled up. So my work is not in the typical stretcher bars. So that allows me to work very large. And once it's installed, it's nice and straight because I use a kind of a technique of paper on the front, canvas in the back. So it's very sturdy. It displays nice and flat, but it can be rolled up. And that allows me to send pretty much a whole show in a tube. So, what may cost like thousands and thousands of dollars for our big exhibition of paintings to go from, let's say, Chicago to Italy or to Romania or whatnot, I can do a whole large show in two big tubes, which, usually for under $1,000. So that opens up a lot of doors, when it comes to funding, because, it's not that expensive to get my artwork, from one gallery or museum to another.
I saw you did a video on the National Gallery in Mexico where you created the $1 one pane piece.
Yeah, that was actually in Chicago. Yeah, it's called the National Museum of Mexican Art, but it's in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, that piece strays from your sort of typical figurative abstract pieces. was that a commission or?
No, that was a piece that was done specifically for the museum. So the story is like the National Museum of Mexican Art is the largest museum dedicated to the Mexican history in the United States. And it is in Chicago, and it is in the neighborhood that's called Pilsen, which is the predominantly Latino community. So I wanted to create a piece for my solo show that was done on site and related to the community. So I created this large $1, piece, which instead of the word dollar is translated to dolor, which in Spanish means pain. So $1, one pain. That's kind of the idea, which is, for the immigrant, coming to United States, the dollar is a symbol recognized internationally, right? Is the search for a better life, for a better future, and so on. So I incorporated the imagery of the dollar, but with also some imagery related to the immigrant experience.
I like it.
Thank you.
I thought that gallery was in Mexico. You're very connected to the Mexican art scene, right?
Yes.
When you and I were trying to connect back this summer, you were in what do you have something established that's ongoing in Mexico?
Well, I think that was 2018 where I did a 3-museum show in Mexico. So it was a traveling exhibition of actually the dollar piece and some other graphic work that was exhibited in 3 museums in Mexico in 3 different cities. So that's something that came, from that body of work. And it was kind of, for me, very exciting because I grew up in Mexico. I came to Chicago when I was 16 years old. So I was, for the first half of my time here in the United States, I was very separated from the art community in Mexico because I was a teenager when I came. So I didn't know any of the artists. I was not connected to any galleries or nothing. I pretty much didn't know what was happening in Mexico other than what I saw in social media and friends that I had. So it was kind of a nice opportunity for me to kind of go back through that exhibition in 2018 to go back to Mexico and now connect in a more serious way with the art community and the and the art world that is being really created in Mexico, which was really great experience for me. And of course, I created some new friendships and connections. So looking forward to do that again sometime in the future.
How do you sort of navigate into the museum, the community? It's a little different than, going and renting a space and having an exhibition.
Right. So you have to always understand kind of like what's the purpose of each venue, right? And when you understand what the purpose of this venue, then it helps you to figure out how to approach that venue. You don't go to a museum with a proposal of work that you want to sell, right? Because the purpose of the museum is not a commercial one like for the gallery, right? The gallery, a commercial gallery, needs to sell work in order to continue doing business and, so on. So the museum is a different entity. And then in the middle, you have art centers, which is kind of like the Joby Art Center, which is kind of a nice sweet spot in between the two. It's a transition, you start with working with galleries and people begin to see your work and, those connections will translate sometimes. Then you go usually from a gallery to an institution to a museum. So it is that transition of creating body of work that will also be suitable for the museum. So for example, the work that I shown in the museums in Mexico was a show that related to immigration, which is not necessarily a type of work that fits with a commercial gallery who's trying to sell more commercial type of work, right? So kind of understanding those differences and knowing how to approach them with proposals that are fitted for who you are trying to connect with is very important.
I watched your video on the creating an exhibition proposal.
Oh, the 7 steps to create a killer exhibition proposal, which I talk about a lot about that, making sure that you understand what the purpose of the place where you're going. And so, for every exhibition that I do, always I put together a proposal that kind of has the idea of what we want to do. Even if it's an invitation, just kind of having some thoughts and ideas of how this could look like.
Yeah. Is that something that you and your wife touch on? You and your wife founded the business Art NXT Level. And
Right.
Is that something that you guys go over, like the different institutions? And
so what it is, so my wife is a psychologist, right? And of course I'm an artist, curator, and galleries. So what we did is 3 years ago, we created what's called the Art NXT Level Academy, an online school for artists they can join from anywhere in the world. And what they will find inside is tools and resources to build their career. Like For example, the best example there, the 7 steps to creating a killer exhibition proposal video or course is one of the many that we have. We have things on productivity, organization, marketing, sales, exposure, etc. You name it. So we've been building it over time with the purpose of helping artists navigate the art world, and also helping artists realizing that every artist is different. Not every artist wants the same thing, and so helping artists to identify what is it that they want to do, how they want to create their art career, because I believe today there are choices. There are many choices on how you may want to do your art career, and which is great, gives you more opportunities. And then once you identify what is it that you're looking for, then we help them, create a strategic plan together. So we do that through an online academy where artists can join. We have about 25 different countries represented inside the academy. And what we do right now is we run challenges. So we have a different challenge every 3 months. So artists can work together throughout that challenge and help each other out. You make new friends with other artists from around the world. And we do like sessions like this where we connect with our artists and we answer questions, we help them out. And that's how it all works. Yeah.
Your wife, can you speak to as to how you feel like her psychology plays into Art Next Level?
Mm-hmm. So her background is in psychology. So she has a doctorate in psychology. So what she's doing is she's helping us out, as artists, identify that sometimes the things that hold us back, when, for example, we say, oh, I'm not good enough for this, or I don't think they're going to take me serious, or, we always create narratives in our head that prevents us from moving forward in any situation, right? I'm not good at video, nobody's gonna watch my video, I don't have enough followers. We always have 1,000 different excuses. So what she has done is she has created within the academy, creating different programs and videos to kind of help us overcome those mindset blocks that a lot of times prevents us from doing what we could be doing to advance our career, and the only obstacle really is ourselves. And besides the academy, we also do other things outside that, which are free resources. Like we have the podcast, the Art Next Level podcast, been going on now for 3 years. 2 years ago, I started the Breakfast with Sergio show too, which you can just Google it. You'll find over 200 episodes of that. And just sharing kind of the things that are working right now for artists. And right now, because of the pandemic, I started a brand new kind of section of that as Artists in Lockdown, where every day I'm interviewing an artist from around the world and finding out how they're dealing with the lockdown, with how they're adjusting as artists, because this has come to interrupt everybody. There were artists who have solo shows now canceled, or residency programs canceled. So it's really bad. And my goal is that with these stories that we're sharing, help artists to get inspired and move forward despite of what's going on.
Speaking of things that are canceled, Art Basel, right? Mm-hmm. That was canceled. I don't see that you participate in any major art exhibition. I wouldn't even call them exhibitions, like sales, art fairs. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. What I do is I love to go to the art fairs, and I go more as a curator and as content producer. And what I do then, I love to, because I have various roles, right? I'm the artist, I'm the curator for the art center, and I also have my own gallery. It's called Territory Contemporary Gallery. So when I go to an art fair, for me, I like to go on the role of curator galleries and connect with others, network, so that then we can do, as you mentioned before, because I love to do collaborations. An art fair happens in 3 days and it's gone, right? Comes to the city, people come in, and then 3 days, 4 days, it's out, it's over, right? Everybody goes back home. But the relationships that you build are, for me, more valuable. Those last much longer. So I find a lot of value on going to an art fair. Like, for example, we just went to here in New York, the Armory Show. So we were there for the Armory Show, making connections, that. And now, as I follow through, they will lead to, to opportunities, exhibitions, collaborations, and that kinds of thing. So even though the art fair is short, the connections you make go with you wherever you go. So I have a little bit of a different strategy than, the typical, just want to be in the art fair, have my work there for 3 days, and then it's over.
Right. You're very busy. I hope that once, I like the Artist on Lockdown series, but I hope you go back to the Breakfast with Sergio.
Oh yeah. That definitely is coming back. I was actually thinking about that today. Like, I haven't done one in my kitchen table like I usually do. So right now these stories keep keeping me busy.
Yes. Well, Sergio Gomez, do you have any last words?
I think the more that we share the stories and the stories of others, I always say that when one artist wins, we all win, right? And that's something that's how I value what I do and the art career that I have built. It's about this, about relationships, about sharing one another's wins, and also helping each other out when we are not winning too. When we are going through things like what we're going right now. So I think what you're doing is very important, and just want to say keep it going. And to all our friends, just find me on Instagram. You want to catch up at Sergio Gomez Art.
Yes, sir. Well, hopefully we connect again in the future. It was nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much for inviting me to be in the show.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.